us lots of things. All right, good evening and welcome to the Waterloo City Council Finance meeting. Roll call, please.
Mr. Nichols?
Here.
Mr. Childs?
Here.
Mr. Foyce?
Here.
Mr.
sir.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as well as approval of the February 19th, 2024 meeting as presented.
Second.
Mr. Childs, you're going to need to speak up. We can't hear you at all.
Second.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. First up, Mr. Nichols, will you take travel requests, please?
Yes,
Thank you.
I'd like to approve the following travel requests. First is for Noel Anderson, Community Planning and Development Director, Adrian Miller, Economic Development Specialist, Tim Endera, Economic Development Specialist, and Lexi Schneider, Planner, number one. And that is for the DEV 24 conference in Cedar Rapids, Iowa on May 15th, 2024, amount not to exceed $480. Next is for Cameron Agan and Ryan Shatek, Stormwater Specialist for the USACE Wetland Delineation and Regional Supplements meeting. It's an online training, 12 weeks, date to be decided, amount to exceed $3,548. Next is for Officers Jay Bolstad and A. Bovey for the Blue Streak Handlers course travel only in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and that's between April 7th and 27th, 2024, amount not to exceed $8,300. Next is for Sergeant Ehlers, and that's for Blue Streak K9 Trainers course in Jonesboro, Arkansas, between April 7th and 27th, 2024, amount not to exceed $4,645. Next is for Officer Saad, Pepper Ball Instructor in Armor Certification in Iowa City, and that is between April 3rd and 4th, 2024, amount not to exceed $579. Next is for Randy Bennett, Public Works Division Manager, and Scott Brunson, Sanitation Director, for the APWA Iowa Chapter Spring Conference in West Des Moines, Iowa, and that's between April 4th and 5th, 2024, amount not to exceed $1,090. Next is for Randy Bennett, Public Works Division Manager, Rich Strange, Fleet Maintenance Director, and Damian Fischels, Safety and Compliance Director, and that's for the North American Snow Conference in Kansas City, Missouri, between April 28th and May 1st, 2024, amount not to exceed $6,165. And finally, we have John Martin, Lontavius Jordan, Tracy Southall, plus two more for the USIG meeting in Des Moines, Iowa, on May 2nd, 2024, amount not to exceed $5,000.
Second.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have the pre-authorization to expend over $2,500.
Mr. Mayor, Pro Tem.
Mr. Childs?
I move to approve the following pre-authorizations. The airport for $3,142 for aviation radios, airport for a bumper turret, that's $29,263.71. Central garage auger repair, $8,209.68 plus $544.27 shipping and handling. The central garage snow control track, $7,642.57 plus $540 shipping and handling. Leisure services, and that's for golf course advertising in the amount of not to exceed $5,600. Leisure services amount for the portable baseball pitching mounds of $8,392. Planning and zoning asbestos removal in the amount of $11,370. Police for ammunition in the amount of $28,169.25. The police for the Panasonic Tough Book computers. That is $28,775.30, and that's to replace them in their cars. Police SRO duty rifle purchase, which is $20,874,090. For sewer, this is for a contactor, and that is $3,386.80 plus $300 shipping and handling. For sewer again, that's for the GX2 Cal Station, that's $2,500. Sewer, again, for flusher pump parts, $7,940 plus $650 shipping and handling. Sewer for a gate valve in the amount of $3,100.88. The street department for crack sealant an amount not to exceed $22,400. And traffic for utility body for a traffic truck, and that is $11,256.25 plus $1,000 shipping and handling.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. The budget line items to be amended. Mr. Nichols, will you take those, please?
Yep, first is to approve a project budget for an increase in restricted donations revenue and tree shrubs expenses for 2 grants received in the amount of $18,587 for a tree planting at Gates Park, Project 37 GFT Gate Park, as submitted by Leisure Services. Next is to approve a budget amendment to increase the refund revenue line and increase the leased equipment expense line in the amount of $16,689.68 for payments on leased motorcycles and trucks as submitted by the police department. Next is to approve a budget amendment to use cash on hand and increase the WPD forfeiture distributions expense line in the amount of $30,000 for the WPD forfeiture project as submitted by the police department. And number 28, to approve a budget amendment to increase the refund revenue line and hazardous materials expense line in the amount of $7,465.20 to replace gas meters from a refund that was received as submitted by the fire department.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. And then for other committee business, first is for a request approving a refund for Purdy Properties on property located at 638 West First Street, Waterloo, Iowa, in the amount of $70.50 for charges billed in error for garbage fees. And second is a request approving a refund for Kelly Cousins on property located at 233 Center Street, Waterloo, Iowa, in the amount of $9.87 for charges billed in error for curbside yard waste recycle services.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then finally, for bills payment for February 26, 2024, that amount is $4,192,258.34. And for March 4th, 2024, that amount is $821,872.11. I make a motion to receive, file, forward to the full council.
Second. Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Sorry.